Hey everybody, this is Ryan Lockett at Red Raven Games. I'm here with
Brenna Asplund.
Yeah, and we've got our prototype for Near and Far. We just want to do a quick run through and show you a couple of the elements of the game. So I just want to remind everybody that this is a prototype and not all of this art is final and a lot of it's going to change.
Yep.
Some of it's placeholder, and so just so you know, as a disclaimer. Mm-hmm. But you can see here we've got the prototype, we've got the atlas, the game atlas here in the middle of the board, and we've chosen, I think this is map number 4.
Yeah, Meteor Mountain it's called.
Yeah, that's right. And up here is the town board and all the different buildings that you can visit and that give you different abilities. And then down here, we've got our player boards. This is my player board. You can see I've got this beautifully hand-drawn dog token with marker. And over here is Brenna's player board. The characters we're playing, I'm playing Tannian.
And I'm playing Vera.
Yeah, let me get a shot there. Yeah, there you go. So, and let me just show you a couple elements before we get started. Right here, this is the threat deck. So these cards are different threats that you have to fight out when you're traveling. These are the awesome pack bird tokens that you get that increase your speed when you're moving. And over here I've got these are faction cubes and faction banners. We've got treasure cards and world cards. You know, we might run into all sorts of crazy stuff like this thing here, which is Ikra, which is sort of a scaled deer creature. And then up here you can see the adventurers that you can recruit for your party.
And you've also got the reputation track.
Oh yeah, up here at the top of the town board is the reputation track. So depending on what you do in the game, that you might go up or down on that track. Okay, so let's start. So Brenna is going to be the first player.
Yep. During the first turn you have to visit town. And I am going to go to the farm and get 2 food.
Yeah, so she marks the food.
Mark that on my track here.
On her track, yeah. Okay, so it's my turn now. And I am going to visit, well, there are a couple places here. So I can't actually go to the farm because Brenna's character is there. I could go to the Mystic Hut, in which case I would draw a treasure card. And a treasure card, that's from this deck here. And it's just all sorts of crazy abilities that sometimes they're like one-use items. In fact, that sounds like a lot of fun, so that's what I'm going to do. So I get to draw from this deck. And the card I got was the Slingshot, +1 attack, but I have to discard it if I use it. So I'm just going to put it down here next to my player board.
Okay, for my next move, I am going to leave town, which means I move my guy to the town space on the map, and I recruit an adventurer.
Yeah, so you can see right here, that's every map has a town space, and it's one action to actually leave town. But yeah, Brenna gets to recruit one of these people. I'm
going to take this lady here who has a sword and a skill. She goes in the yellow spot on my active party, and I put this on her to mark that she's the party leader.
Yep. Okay, so it's back to my turn. Turns go quick in this game. Well, some turns can take a little longer.
Depends on how long you're going to try to think about it.
Yeah. So I could go to the mine, get a coin or a gem, but you know, I'm actually going to go over to the stables and get a pack bird. So I take one of these pack bird tokens and put it on my player board, and this increases my speed. My speed is normally 2, but now it's 3.
Okay, I'm going to move over here, which, because there's a book space there, allows me to do a quest, which is a little bit risky this early in the game since I don't have a lot of skill yet, but we're going to see how this goes.
Right, so to just clarify, she could have moved 3 spaces, sorry for the glare here, but she decided to just move that 1 space. And we're going to read encounter number 43. You can see, yeah, that glare is pretty gnarly. Okay, so I open the encounter book and turn to paragraph 43. So we get to see what is on that spot on the map. You spot a black billow of smoke on the horizon and follow it to a burning watermill. A bald man in a blue scarf runs toward you. Stone warriors attacked me. They've taken everything and destroyed my mill, he says. So now I get to tell Brenna. She gets 2 choices here. And on the choices, I just read the top 2 bold lines. So you can help the man put out the fire and repair what you can, skill 4. Or you can track down the stolen supplies to take for yourself, combat 7.
Okay. So because my party leader has a sword, I have +1 to that roll, so I could potentially get a 7 if I rolled a 6. But that would be really hard.
Yeah, so now there are 2 options you can see here. Skill is hands, and combat is swords.
And I do have 1 hand too. I also have this dog that adds +1 to any dice roll, so that means basically I would get +2 to either combat or skill right now. But since the skill is a lot lower on that, it was just skill 4, right, to help him rebuild?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, playing it safe.
I'm gonna play it safe. Dang it!
Yeah.
Every time I play it safe, I roll a 6.
So she really could have.
I could have tracked him down. I could have done the combat anyway. I helped him rebuild.
So now I read what happens. So I say, you spend the next day working on the mill and have things up and running before the sun sets. So there are 2 rewards here. There's the skill 4, which is the basic one, but every choice has a reward that's 2 higher. And you just know that. That's the basic, that's like a bonus.
Yep.
And she got it. Her total was 6 plus
2.
2 because of the hand and the dog.
Yeah, so that's easily.
So she gets everything. So she gets 2 plus 2 reputation.
Sweet.
Yeah. So she'll move up on the reputation track. Yeah. And she gets the red faction banner. So she goes over here for this banner. Yep. So that'll help her control the red faction at the end of the game. You get points if you control each faction.
Yep. And because I was successful in the quest, I get to keep the book token.
Yeah, the book token is important. You can spend it on artifact cards.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my turn's not quite done yet. I forgot to mention this when I recruited this lady, but because she was in this spot on the recruitment track, I got 1 food.
Oh yeah.
For recruiting her.
That's right.
Since I only moved 1 space, I didn't have to spend any food to move, and so I can now spend the 3 food that I have to build a camp there.
Yeah.
Because my party leader is yellow, it's going to be a yellow camp.
Yeah. Now, if she had decided to skip an empty space, which is a space that doesn't have a camp in it, every time she does that, it costs 1 food.
Yep.
But she didn't skip any, she just landed on 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it actually gets easier to travel as the game goes on. So now that she's built a camp here, I can skip this space and I don't have to pay a food. But if I skip the next one in the trail, then I have to pay a food.
Yeah. And because I have 1 hand in my active party, I get 1 coin for building on this coin spot.
Yeah, that's right. So hands, that's how many things you collect. So this space is a coin space. Okay, so I'm going to take this moment to explain artifact cards really quickly. So,
yeah.
Or actually, we should just say, how do you win? What's the goal of this game?
The goal of the game is to get the highest journey points, which you can get in several ways. You can see on the reputation tracker, there are some amounts of points you can get for having the highest, second highest, or third highest reputation. And you can get points. You get 1 point for every camp that's built of a faction that you control.
Yeah, that's why getting those banners, that's important. That's how you control the faction.
If you control the faction, you get the camps and you get the points. And also if you control the faction that has built on trade routes, which are up here, you can see there's 2 spaces for each one. Yeah,
so this is one. These are ichor stones. So this is one end of the trade route, and then up here you can see is the other end. And if you have both of those, you'll mark it up here.
So like if you had 2 of these here, you would put 1 there.
Yeah.
And then if you own the yellow faction at the end of the game, you'd get 10 points for that.
Right.
And then one of the main ways you get points at the end of the game is by building artifacts.
Yeah. So everybody starts the game with a hand of artifacts, and you draft them at the start of the game, which means you pick them and pass hands to the left, building up your hand at the start until you have something that you've sort of picked out, so you can focus your strategy. You can plan your strategy long term. Mm-hmm. So these are my artifacts here. We actually didn't draft any; we just dealt some to each other. But
yeah.
So let me show you what each artifact has. So this artifact, the stone spear, this is how many points it's worth at the end of the game if I build it. So it's worth 3 points. And then this is what I have to pay to build it. So this needs 5 coins, and I have to have at least 1 yellow faction banner. And then if I build it, then I put it next to my player board down over here, and it gives me 2 swords, which helps me to fight threat cards, and like in the encounter when there was a combat choice, you could add that to it. So now the important thing is, if you don't build any of these artifacts, if there are any left in your hand at the end of the game, it's
-3 points for each one.
Yeah, so it's quite a kind of a punishment. So you're really motivated to plan long term and go after each artifact card that you have, and make sure that when you're drafting those artifact cards, you want to make sure that you're not going too far and getting too many. Yeah, overextending, because you'll lose a ton of points at the end of the game. Okay, so now it's back to my turn. So I'm still in town. I'm going to leave town. It looks like we forgot to slide the adventurers down the row. Yeah, so whenever an adventurer is taken, you just slide them down, you'll draw a new one. So I'm leaving town, which means I take my guy and put him over here on the town space, and I get to pick one of these adventurers to be in my party. So you can see that they all have different skills. This blue faction, the Mystic, she has a sword and a hand, which is pretty good. And then you can see we had to scribble some things out here. This bandit faction guy, he's got a hand and a +1 to die rolls. And then this yellow faction, she's got a hand and a +1 move if she's in my party. But you know what, I'm going to take the Mystic, because if I take the Mystic, I get 2 food. You can see up there.
Just for reference, yellow faction is nomads and red faction is lizards. Now you know what they all are.
All right. Okay, so I got 2 food for that. So move my little thing, and then I got to put this. Now, just to show, these are prototype components. So
yeah.
In the actual game, these will be different. Okay.
Okay, now it's my turn again. I'm going to move back to town, because without food, there's not really much you can do traveling around. And I am going to go to the mine. Now, at the mine, I could roll a die, and if I got 4 or higher, I could get a gem. But I actually just want a coin, so I'm just going to take a coin without rolling. And then I'm going to use these 2 coins to build one of my artifact cards. The horn bow.
Oh, nice.
So that will give me 1 point at the end of the game, and it gives me 1 extra sword for my party.
Right. Now these artifact abilities, they're so important. Like, they really dictate your ability to win the game.
Yeah,
it seems
they do.
Like if you can set up a good set of abilities and get them quickly, that can really help you win. Like getting that extra sword right now is going to help Brenna defeat a lot of threats.
Yeah.
Early in the game.